I love the Final Destination films. I mean, if I'm being specific, I love the first two Final Destination films, and I think the fifth one is actually the best by far. But the series did kind of lose me there when it came to the third and fourth entries into the series. With that being said, I would still like to see a sixth film in this franchise, and I think I have a pretty interesting idea. Let's talk about it. Hey YouTubers, don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell over by the subscriber button to notify you every single time I upload. Now perhaps this pitch will be a bit ridiculous because I want you to think of the Final Destination series as something more than it really certainly is. But stick with me here. What if the Final Destination franchise wasn't this crazy horror franchise featuring young people dying in really creative ways, but it was actually a visual representation of the unraveling of space and time within the context of its own universe? One of the most popular theories within the Final Destination fandom is the assumption that Tony Todd's character is essentially death incarnate. I'm all for this theory. In fact, I think it works really well with the story that I want to tell. His physical presence in any given movie, at least in my context, is based around the balance between the living and the dead and the fragile reality that connects them. Considering that he only appears in 3 of the 5 films, we can believe that he is no longer able to walk amongst the living during the events of the 3rd and 4th films, due to the events of the 2nd film. Remember in Final Destination 2 when the survivors learned that they had survived surefire deaths before the highway crash due to the events of Flight 180 and the immediate aftermath within the first film. In the 2nd film, it was hinted at that every person who survives their predetermined death and continues to exist in the world around them before they die not only has the power to affect the lives and death of others, but their very presence in the world will be enough to reshuffle the entire deck. And this concept is never explored in any other sequel, despite possibly being the catalyst for every single event in the 3rd and 4th film. Remember that Kimberly and Thomas at the ending of the 2nd film are actually the only ones in the entire series who escape death. I mean, unless you count the alternate non-canon take in Final Destination 3 where it's hinted at that they died in a newspaper clipping, but we're not talking about that here. So anyway, back to the topic at hand. Given the logic of that film, you can take away that they are free to continue their lives and affect the actions and deaths of everybody else around them. That is why the connections that weaved the 1st, 2nd, and 5th films aren't really dwelled upon very much in the 3rd and 4th film. Kimberly and Tom simply being alive for years after they should have died is enough to break the entire cycle of life and death. The premonitions are no longer connected to the people, places, or events of those that escaped death before the new batch of people, and it becomes just a free-for-all, and the world is slowly breaking apart as more and more people are escaping death every single day. And that is why by the time we get to the 4th film in the franchise, we see a truck crashing through a coffee shop and nobody bats an eye, or people literally cannot hang themselves to death. Everything is just a mess. It's a free-for-all and it's a little bit cartoonish. And to me, that is the hook in the story for any future film in this franchise. If they are going to bring back this series, then they need to bring back Tom and Kim from Final Destination 2 and show what they are up to and how they're living in this world. I think you take the cartoonish concepts for 3 and 4 and put them on steroids and really try to build this concept that in order for everything to go back to place, Tom and Kim need to die. Maybe Death is the one trying to do that, but maybe other people who are escaping this are really starting to see what's happening to this world and they want to kill Tom and Kim. So it's not just this series of events that lead to people's death, but people literally hunting these characters down because they realize what will happen to the world if they don't die. Yes, it's a bit selfish for them to keep living, and that is the real hook for this story. It's a little bit nostalgic because these two characters are from the 2nd film, and you can really hint back to some of the better films in the franchise. And I also think it would be enough of a recharge or reimagination of how the Final Destination franchise works to make it interesting for the newer audiences who are going to see it and the people who are nostalgic for the original franchise. So guys, what are your thoughts there? Do you think that explanation for the Final Destination franchise works? Do you like the concept of Final Destination 6 as I have it? Or what would you do differently? Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that bell over by the subscriber button to notify you every single time I upload. And if you want to talk about the Final Destination franchise, Halloween franchise, Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th, the Saw franchise, any horror franchise whatsoever, or just pitches for various other sequels and other movie franchises or TV shows, anime, box office numbers, anything, then make sure to go follow me on Twitter, because I'm always over there and it's so much easier to talk to you guys on Twitter than it is on YouTube, because YouTube doesn't notify me every single time that someone replies or even when I get a comment usually. So I hope everyone's having a fantastic day. It's been real.